Good morning. My name is Kelly Kernan, and I just wanted to say hello and thanks. I'm from Nebraska. I was born in North Platte. My mom grew up in Mitchell, and my dad grew up in Sydney, and we all lived in Lincoln while my dad went to the University of Nebraska, go Big Red. So I'm really, really glad to be here with you all. I have put my email in the comments in the chat, and I want to make myself available to you after this meeting to answer any questions you might have. So hopefully you can see my screen. And I just wanted to begin then by talking about Air Force SBIR and SBIRSTTR. So I'm talking about Air Force SBIRSTTR, but there are 11 agencies that do SBIR and SBIRSTTR for the SBA. The Air Force is the largest of the DoD, and NIH is the largest of the non-DoD. So at Air Force SBIRSTTR, we have divided it up, if you will, into phase 0, which is kind of what we're doing right now. We're just make sure people understand what's going on, and for the Air Force folks, that means topic generation, which means they're coming up with what we need. And then we go into phase 1s, which are contracts nowadays that are very tiny. They're like $50,000 in 2 or 3 months. And those contracts are meant under the new paradigm that comes from AFWERX called Open Topic. So AFWERX is using the Air Force SBIRSTTR budget. People get confused, what is AFWERX? Sometimes I get confused, what is AFWERX? AFWERX is a wonderful new innovation group that uses the Air Force SBIRSTTR budget. And they're using them for what they're calling open topics. So it used to be that the Air Force said, okay, we need help with the X and Y and Z. And then we solicited proposals on X and Y and Z, and then we funded some of them. AFWERX has decided, and it seems to be working, that we don't know what we need, and we should let the defense industrial base tell us what we need. And so that's the idea with open topics. So if your open topic is successful and you find a customer, which is the tricky part of this, which is to say you find an Air Force organization to sign an MOU that says that they will fund this, the outcome of the research, then you are competitive for a phase 2, which is somewhere between usually $1 million and $1.5 million and a 2-year contract to prototype the technology that you have in mind for the Air Force. And our goal is a phase 3, which is just a regular contract with the Air Force. However, it's a non-compete contract because you were part of this process. So I'm going to stop every once in a while for questions, but let me go a couple more slides here. Okay, so here's the schedule. And this meeting, Tracy and I broke our necks to make this meeting happen today, because today, not a month from now, is when you need to know what's happening. So on August 25th, a week ago or so, 20.3 went into pre-release. So we 3 times a year, the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, those are the SBIRs. The point A, point B, point C, those are the SBIRSTTRs. SBIRSTTR being a partnership between a university and a small business and the Air Force. A SBIR being a partnership between a small business and the Air Force. And went into pre-release on August 25th, which means right now you can see it all, and I'm going to show it to you, and you can ask questions. And there are many, many pitch days, which you might have heard of, that are contained within the 20.3. So you have to participate in the 20.3 or 20.C to participate in our pitch days, which are a lot of fun and get you a lot of notoriety and hopefully customers. Then on the 23rd of September, 20.3C will open, which means you can submit a proposal on the website I'll show you. And then a month later it closes, and then it goes into evaluation, and some are selected, and then some are awarded, and then those contracts begin. So hopefully that helps. Let's see if we go one more slide. So here one more time, just trying to show that we have a thing called Air Force Ventures, which is sort of overseeing the strategy of all of this. Then we have Air Force SBIRSTTR, which is an $800 million program. It's trying to seed small businesses all over the United States in the defense industrial base to bring technologies to the Air Force that we may need or we may not know we need. Then we have a thing called Tech Warrior, which is a wonderful place to go demonstrate your technology and get feedback. AFWorks, as we talk about, are a wonderful engine that is using our budget and doing wonderful, wild things to bring in young entrepreneurs and older entrepreneurs but speaking their language. Then we have, as I mentioned before, the phase 0, which is sort of this conversation, the phase 1s, which will be awarded out of the solicitation I just mentioned, phase 2s, we hope, phase 3s, that's the idea. Then we have the pitch days, which I talked about. There is a thing called kinematic, which can help small businesses. If you're say, well, you know, I'm an entrepreneur with a great idea, but I don't really have a business. Well, we have people that will help you with the business end of it. And then we have commercial investment. We get a lot of commercial investment now from venture capitalists who will get the opportunity to see your technology and your firm, which they might never have known you were around, but they tend to come to our events. You have a chance for commercial investment there. And then we're connected with Wright State University that helps us with all our data. And they're going to create some training to go along with. So I think I'll stop here now and answer questions for a few minutes.
Yeah, hi Kelly, this is Tyler Keffler.
Yes, hi Tyler.
Hi, so are the pitch days, is that the same thing as technology transfer pitches, or is that something different?
That's different. Now the pitch days, you'll be to either get a phase 2, well, a phase 2 contract for the Air Force. So they're around certain topics, which I plan to show you here in a minute. Okay. So it's different. Yeah, it's different. Anybody else? Okay, let me keep going. I'll stop again in a few slides. All right. So as I mentioned, did I hear a question? No. Okay. So as I mentioned, this is a huge program. $800 million. $800 million again in FY20 and again in FY21. There is plenty of money to go around. There's plenty of money to seed new technologies. And in a minute, I'll show you that maybe Nebraska's been missing out a little bit. So, you know, there'd be all the more reason to help you and focus on your firms. I'll mention that this SBIRSTTR, which is the partnerships with the university, which I can go into more, that this money is, we find it hard to spend. So if I always encourage people to create SBIRSTTR proposals. I'll tell you frankly, they're more likely to be funded because there's fewer of them. And they're just the most wonderful opportunity to see. And the phase 1 is very short time frame. So you get a little bit of money to help you see if your technology has a customer in the Air Force. It's really a brilliant idea. Okay, then we have these things, as I mentioned, you'll see almost exclusively, except for the pitch days, we have open topics. And I talked about how those work. Well, you can see they're being very successful. Almost 6,500 small businesses proposed to the open topic in FY19, and it'll be more than that in FY20. AFWorks, I talked about them, how they're doing amazing things, and they are using our budget. I'll show you their website here in a minute, which I also put into the chat. I talked about Tech Warrior, where you can go do a demonstration of your technology, and they have events. I'll show you those. And then we started talking about, so this is the pitch days that happened in FY or calendar year 19. So I'm going to switch my share for a second, and I'm going to talk about websites that can help you. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. Whoops, I just lost the share. Okay, let's look at these websites. So the first one I want to point you to is SBIR.gov. Okay, SBIRSTTR, but they used SBIR, so sitters are there too. It answers with some of the most cutting edge technology I've ever seen. It has tutorials, it has guidance, and it's the first place to go if you know nothing about this. Go spend a day on the SBIR.gov website, and you will gain just a wealth of information. And then it contains all kinds of information, but I like these first two. I'm going to go here first. You can see I already clicked once on Nebraska, how to get help in Nebraska. So is this going to go? What do I have to hit enter? Okay, it's not working. I don't know why. Okay, let's go here first. Funding. Remember that link I just clicked on was said, are you looking for SBIRSTTR funding? Find opportunities. So it's going to talk to you about current topics. So if we click on that one, it takes you to a website which tells you, see here where it says the close date is, well, this one is real quick, okay, in September. But then we move pretty quickly into ones that are due in October. So all kinds of organizations looking for specific proposals that they're willing to fund. Now, that's Health and Human Services. If we scroll down a bit, we're still in Health and Human Services, but we can go and search this thing over here. And let's just say we click the Air Force. Let's see what the Air Force is looking for. Look, it talks about there's a weapons pitch day going to happen, and the close date to propose is October 22nd. So if you had some sort of technology that you thought could help with Air Force weapons, you would have right now a chance to ask questions, and I'm going to show you that. So say you just don't have a clue. You say weapons, what are we talking about weapons? And do I want to be involved with weapons? There's a place to go ask questions. What do they mean by weapons? I'll show you that here in a second. Here's another one. They're looking for dual use technologies for engines. Then here's a digital engineering pitch day. This one is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, digital engineering is the wave of the future, and they're just looking for anything under the sun. Here's a simulators pitch day if you have simulator technology. Here's an open call for whatever, and I do mean whatever. I've been involved with the evaluations, and I'll tell you, I've seen fertility tests. I've seen a bot that'll help you with your mental health. I've seen an app for your phone that will help you with your fitness. I've seen a bot or an app for your phone that'll tell you if you're getting too close to someone who's tested positive for COVID. So don't underestimate these open calls. They really mean whatever you think. Now the deal is you got to make a case that the Air Force needs this technology. And I can help with that a little bit. I can turn you on to some resources that, I have somebody just did one the other day on an app that will help you find resources for your developmentally challenged child. Now you may think, oh, that's not obviously something that the Air Force needs, but of course it's something that the Air Force needs. The Air Force has every need that anybody has, any firm, any organization, any university. We have people from all walks of life in all situations, and sure, we have a lot of people with developmentally disabled children, and they could probably use an app. So anyway, don't underestimate this. Here is a pitch day for space. Now, Space Command just started up, right? Well, guess what? When you start up the new command, you need everything. You need everything from business software to medical, everything in the world that you can think of. So here is another pitch day for life cycle management of various equipment and weapon systems. Here is another open topic. And anyway, it's just going to go on. And that's just, I just got to that list by clicking Air Force. If your technology fits something a little different, well, here's a whole bunch more. You'll notice Department of Health and Human Services has many, as does National Science Foundation. Now you'll need to check and see, you know, how much money they're offering, because depending on this, the stage of your technology, you may need a lot of money, or you might not, just need a little push to get you to that, to get you to your prototype. So it is an effort for a business person here. So let's see. Let me to the Air Force SBIRSTTR website. Again, we have the largest budget, and we are giving $1 million phase 2s. You might not see so many of those at the other site. You can do a lot with $1 million. And our website here, you know, cycles through. But one of the things, the very first one, I believe it is it talks about what's in pre-release. And if you click on that picture, it's going to take you to another site here, which is called, I don't know why it's called CITUS, okay, but what it really means is Q&A. So here we go, weapons pitch day. That was my example to you. If you had a question on what it means, what they're looking for, it's all right here. And then questions that people have answered. You've got to log in to ask a question, but here's some questions that people have answered. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Nobody's answered anything yet. It's just started about, 4 days ago. So it also gives you the name of the person who's in charge of it. And I bet you, well, no, sorry, no email, but I can help with this too. Nevertheless, you can ask your questions right there by creating an account. So if you had questions, and here's pretty much everything we just looked at, because it's the Air Force things, and then it reaches into the others, DARPA, DLA. So anyway, this is where you would go to ask questions. This is also the site, this is called DSIP, where you would put in your proposal when the time comes. So you might say now, okay, well, you've convinced me where to go to look to see if my technology fits somewhere. How do I propose? And when it comes to the Air Force, I'm going to turn you over to AFWERX, that organization I told you that was doing amazing things. So at AFWERX, you go to their website, and all of these are in the chat. If you go to for industry, you could go to SBIR. Let's go to SBIR for a minute. And right here, it tells you that the next application period is coming and that it's in pre-release. And if we click here, it'll take us to where we just were. It also tells you they're going to have a webinar. These AFWERX webinars are amazing, and they answer questions. So you might want to put that on your calendar just to listen, or if you do actually have questions. It also explains the open topic philosophy here. They're making a lot of small bets, and then they're going to make some medium bets, and then they're going to make a few big bets, because this is really sort of a venture capital seed fund organization. And it's very easy to, for example, give $50,000 contracts to 5,000 firms every year. If I only need about 1% of those to succeed, and I've received the proper return on investment, according to Air Force strategies. So here's how to apply. It talks about where to go, your guidelines. It talks about where you might get ideas. It talks about the different steps. It talks about pitch days. When you go up here into a place called resources, it'll actually take you through small businesses, SBIR introduction, about it. There's even more here. So for example, if we go to SBIR introduction, it's a how can I use SBIR? And it starts right here. It says, go spend an afternoon watching Netflix. And it sends you back to SBIR.gov, where I told you they had all that great training. Then it says, get yourself a DUNS number and a SAMS number, because it can take a little while for that to percolate in the government. Then it says, register your business with the SBA. register at that site we were just at, find the topic you want to apply for, read the instructions carefully, read some training we have on fraud, waste, and abuse, write your volume, write your pitch deck, submit your application. So they boiled it all down. And again, this is under resources on that page we were just at. I'll go back. I'm sorry, this is SBIR introduction under resources. And if you lose track of that, I'll be happy to guide you back to it. In fact, let me put this one onto the chat. I think onto the chat. Maybe not onto the chat. Okay, maybe this is a good time for anybody?
Hi, Ms. Kieran. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
So the other day I was watching a webinar by Dr. Roper and about the Air Force Works program. And they mentioned, phase one is 50,000 for 2 or 3 months to find the customer in the Air Force. And phase two mentioned matching funds. And phase two said it was, highly recommended. You had matching funds, and phase three was matching funds are required. And I know that has something to do with it acting kind of like an investment arm. But can you provide some guidance around for bootstrap companies that don't plan to raise money, how that fits in? Because I know that they said for every SBIR dollar requested, there has to be like a matching program dollar and 2 matching private investment dollars. And then if you're bootstrapped, it was instead of private investment dollars, it was just 2 matching dollars from the program. Can you explain like what the program dollars are and how a bootstrap company would approach that?
Okay, so when it's time to get a phase two, they want it to be competitive. So you could get an MOU. Let's say that what is your area of technology, sir?
Education platform.
Education platform. Okay, so let's say that you connect with some group in the Air Force that you and I chat when this is over, and I send you to some folks that do training and education in the Air Force, and you connect with the Air Force School of Aerospace Medicine, and they have been looking for a new platform for a while, and you talk with them, and they're impressed with what you're doing, and they'd like to fund research for you for 2 years to see if you can prototype a new platform for them. So they would sign an MOU that says if Dr. Kolinsky's education platform pans out, we would be happy to purchase it, and we are going to what's called in the Air Force POM for the money right now, which means they schedule, right? They program that expenditure. And then, the School of Aerospace Medicine, let's say they're really excited about what you're doing. And they say, all right, well, we want you to get that 1 million or sometimes 3 million SBIR, and we know you're in competition. So we will put down $500,000 of our own money. And so they do. So now your MOU says not only will we buy Dr. Kolinsky's platform if it pans out, but we're also putting our own skin in the game of $500,000 to show that we're committed to this and that we really need this. And then let's say your business or your technology, maybe you're on TechCrunch or Crunchbook or one of those is it PitchBook and TechCrunch? I think that's what it is. And or you're chatting somewhere, you're on LinkedIn or wherever, and somebody hears that that you're doing this, and they realize the School of Aerospace Medicine has some applicability to some of their investments. So somebody else comes along and says, well, we'll put $500,000 on that too. So then you bring a letter with that commitment onto your proposal package. And then let's say you want to show that you're committed too. So you say, all right, I've raised a little capital. I'll put $100,000 of my own money on it. So anyway, it's just a way to show, to increase the competitiveness of the technologies. Now, they don't all need that. I have seen MOUs that don't have any matching money on them, but the signer of the MOU is someone in the Air Force, and they're saying to AFWERX, hello, AFWERX, the Air Force needs this technology run through to a prototype. We're not going to put any money on it because this is a risky proposition. We don't know if it's going to work out, but we really need to see where this goes. It all becomes, I hate to say this, but a little bit of you know, how well you can write this up and how persuasive you can be. Because there's a lot of firms with a lot of great stuff. So it's you have to kind of make your case. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? If not, I'll keep going. All right. So let's see. Let's go back to, I think I can just do this. You still see my slides? Yeah, so we talked about pitch days, how there's pitch days coming up, and they're in that 20.3 that we just talked about, right? I'm going to back up here. They're right there where we were just looking at all of this activity, which closes on October 22nd, and you have until September 23rd to ask any question under the sun. At that website, we saw that CITUS website, which you have the link right there. So let me shield your eyes there. Okay, so here's how it works out in 2018 anyway. You could say, oh my goodness, there's no money in Nebraska. So that's the reason why I'm here, is because there should be money in Nebraska, for goodness sakes, go Big Red. We just think maybe y'all haven't heard about us, or maybe the technologies that are being developed are maybe more medical in nature or something like that, or fit more with the FDA or something like that. So, you know, I'm going to show you those sites too here in a second. But anyway, just know that people realize that there are zeros on some of these states. And so, you know, we want to focus efforts in that direction. So that was, now here are now that's curious. Here's the funding. So Nebraska did get a little bit of funding. Iowa, where I actually grew up in my teenage years, didn't get any. On the other hand, though, you're going to look over at Ohio, 59 million. So why should it be 2 million in Nebraska and 59 million? Ohio, you know, we need to improve this map, right? See if we can't get
Eventually has to pee.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah, hang with the dogs until she gets back.
okay, so you are not alone if you want to participate here. We have all kinds of organizations that have programs that can help you, and we can turn you on to some of those. Apex, for example, will give you advice. I'll also give you advice, but then depending on what you're after, there's all these places. And then there are open campus activities where you can just sort of wander in. None of these are in Nebraska, but they do have programs also that you could participate in. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that this is an FY19, you know, these are the numbers of proposals that submissions, and then the numbers of awards for SBIR up here and SBIRSTTR down here. So you can see, you know, with regard, for example, that there were, you know, nearly 5,000 here. So this is a really good bet right here, isn't it? These SBIRSTTR phase 2s. You know, if you wanted to pay your money and take your chances, you know, I learned all these sayings I have in my head from my parents who grew up in Nebraska. Sometimes when I say them, people are like, "Where do you get these things?" But anyway, so you can see there's some good bets here for if you were trying to figure out how to spend your time. Okay, and then here it is broken down year over year. All righty. And submissions, only 6 from Nebraska. So somebody there knows how to do this. So you're at the University of Nebraska, is that right, Tracy?
So yes, I'm part of an organization that is affiliated with the University of Nebraska that's focused on research for the Department of Defense.
All right. So Tracy can find for you all the organization at the University of Nebraska, which helps people with sitters. Okay.
So that would be Josh Nickel-Caddy,
would that be Josh?
Who's on the call
Okay.
with us, and he's part of the Nebraska Business Development Center.
Right.
Yep.
So there's an organization at the University of Nebraska who, among the other things they do, is they connect entrepreneurs with the University of Nebraska, and then they help that entrepreneur form the business that can apply to the sitter. So you are not on your own. This has been done many times in the past. Apparently only 6 times last year, but it has been done in the past, and there are people there to help you do that. The idea is that someone, when they graduate University of Nebraska, or even if you didn't graduate from University of Nebraska, but you've got the technology, the idea is that instead of going to work for a firm, you go to work for yourself. And you partner, though, with the University of Nebraska or any organization. It's not the University of Nebraska. It's any research institute or academic organization which participates in research. And perhaps, for example, there's only that you have some amazing lab at one of these organizations or one of these universities in Nebraska that really doesn't exist anywhere else. Well, that is an amazing reason to partner with them and do research there that might benefit the Air Force. Oops, and there's the awards. So there were 2 awards to Nebraska last year. More statistics. Let's see. And then some accomplishments, which I don't think are probably very useful to you. It does show that companies that were involved did raise $17 million of outside money, like venture capital money, and that companies seeking a phase 2 in FY19 had a 92% success rate. So some people say, well, I don't know about this. This seems like a lot of trouble. It's a little fuzzy. I'm not sure the Air Force needs what I have. Here is the reason to apply and win a phase 1. First of all, they want to award phase 1s. If you receive a phase 1, let's say you receive a phase 1 and you never receive a phase 2. You couldn't find a customer. You're in Nebraska, for whatever reason, you couldn't make the connections that you need to make. You still have a SBIR or a sitter phase 1, which means that until the end of time, you have the right to a sole source contract with the Air Force on that technology. So we see them all the time. Somebody will get a phase 1, and then for whatever reason, they don't get a phase 2, and then 5 years pass. And now all of a sudden they're in a conversation with someone and they say, oh, we want to buy that. They pull out their phase 1 contract, provide it to the contracting officer for whoever needs to buy it, and they are automatically deserving of a sole source non-compete contract. So there's a very good reason to apply for and win a phase 1 SBIR or sitter, even if for some reason you can't go on. Also, when you get a SBIR or sitter with the Air Force, the Navy and the other DoD organizations, their ears perk up. And they say, wait a second, if the Air Force thought they were worthy of investment, maybe we should look at them harder. So there's all kinds of opportunities that way too. All right, so that ends those slides. So I'm going to go back to my website that I was on. And am I still with you guys? The login page appeared. Okay, so what other questions can I answer?
Yeah, I had a question. Do the AFWERX SBIRs, do they take equity in the company, or is it a normal SBIR type process?
It's a normal SBIR process. They're just using our budget. Yep, they're using this SBA's program and the Air Force SBIRSTTR program's budget. Then they play with the margins a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, Ms. Kiernan. Don't
Good
believe
morning.
the dream. My name is Tim O'Day, not Ron Winter.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm logged in as Ron Winter. But question for you, what's required from an accounting system standpoint? Are these firm fixed price contracts when they come out? Is there a need for government audited rates to support these things? What's the audit schedule as these programs matriculate?
So I'm not going to exactly have all of those answers. I can tell you that if we go to SBIR.gov, they are going to be able to help with some of your questions. So again, I would just click through some of these. It's going to talk about who's participating, how to be eligible. So if you needed, for example, there's an eligibility guide that'll talk to you more about your accounting system and things like that. How to determine if you're eligible, your type of firm, ownerships, controls, that sort of thing. And if you don't find your answer there, you can email me and we'll get you an answer in a couple days. And it is firm fixed price.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna say, don't be shy. It is a little bit of a shy group from I can say from the past weeks, but you have a real live expert here. So please, this is your opportunity to ask those questions and face to face, not send an email, which is kind of nice these days. So, yeah, the lines are open, guys.
I would
I guess
also
more of a general question, I guess for everybody involved. So how does like the tech transfer days and SBIR, STTR, and the Air Force AF Works kind of all merge together here?
So I'm not sure what you mean by tech transfer days. You know, there's many ways to transfer. I know there have been some events, so maybe that's what you mean.
That's what he's talking about. So
Okay.
he's talking about the local event that we're having next week with the Tech Scouts. Yeah.
Okay. So those events are more direct. Your Tech Scout's going to show up and they're going to be doing two things. Don't tell them I said so, okay? They might disagree, but as far as my experience with Tech Scouts, they're going to have, on one hand, a list of things they know the various organizations need, and they're on the lookout for them, which is a sign then that they did not have in their register, if you will, of firms and what they do. They did not have information on, they weren't able to provide the service they provide to organizations, because it goes to the other side, which is what they're doing at your event, is they're trying to collect information to have in their, shall we say, Rolodex, right? So that when somebody comes along and says, I need batteries for my handheld radio and I want a new technology called X, they look on their registry, their Rolodex, and see if they can provide the user a name, a firm, okay? So they're coming to you next week to work on the Rolodex, but also because they have a list of things that people need that aren't yet fulfilled. So that's the technology transfer. It's a very direct transfer. SBIR and SBIRSTTR are instead research. So the Air Force says we need new technologies researched, and in order to make that happen, they do small phase ones to allow for to push technology into the Air Force, If the firm can find an actual customer for their new technology, then they give them a phase 2. The phase 2 million, sometimes 3, and 2 years, could be as short as 1. And they allow them to develop the prototype to the point where somebody in the Air Force could say, yes, I'm going to buy that. And now because of this system, it's a sole source contract. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
I have a question that came up on chat. This is from Preston Badir.
Oh, yes.
He's in a loud environment, so can't turn on his sound. But he said, what does the timeline look like for actually receiving the funding if you are given an award?
So that's the kind of the downside of this conversation. So for example, the one we've been talking about now, 20.3s, which will close in October, they should get evaluated in, shall we say, November, and then they'll get contracted somewhere along the lines between, shall we say, December and February. It just depends, because there should be a lot of them. They're expecting 1,500. Now, some of them, for example, I know that the simulator pitch day, let me go to our own website, and pitch days. One of the ones we saw was simulator pitch days, and it's going to happen in December 2020. So if you're phase 1, or it might be a direct to phase 2, I didn't look. But if you're selected there, you would be getting your money somewhere in around January 21. But you know that you were selected in December 21. And it could be another month beyond that, I suppose. I hate to promise. It's a really tricky business, contracting. I mean, there aren't enough contracting officers in the world. Sometimes I think we should become a contracting officer. I could work until I'm 80 from home. There just aren't enough of those people. So does that help there, Mr. Badir?
Yep, he said that helps.
Okay.
So you mentioned direct to phase 2. Can you give a little background and context around who would be eligible for a direct to phase 2 or how that happens?
Right. So a direct to phase 2. So let's go right on over here, and let's go to the home, and let's see if there's any Air Force. Well, they aren't there right now. So let's see. Schedule is coming, and 20.3. A direct to phase 2 is simply skipping over phase. That's not what we wanted to do. A direct to phase 2 is when you skip over phase 1, because you don't need a phase 1. You don't need to go searching. Let's say your technology's already at a TRL 9 or so, and you're ready to go. Let's say that this technology that you have is already being used on the commercial market, and all you need to do is the research to turn it into an Air Force product. Okay, you are ready to go. You're ready to rock. Maybe you've been working for years. So you instead apply as a phase 2. I'm sorry, direct to phase 2, and say we're ready to go. We're 90%. We just need that infusion of $1 million or 2 or 3 to take us over the hump to get the Air Force to use this technology. Does that help?
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood
Sure.
what that was. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Other questions from anyone? Well, while all of you are thinking, if you wouldn't mind, and Kelly, if you wouldn't mind, if everybody would turn on their videos so I could just take a quick capture of the event that we could then post on a social media page, if that's okay with you, Kelly?
Sure.
Okay, I'd appreciate it. If everyone can put on their pictures, and I'll say smile, and we'll take a cheesy Zoom photo.
Kelly, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is the likelihood of going to phase 2? My product is basically completed. I launched right prior to COVID, so yay me. But it might need some sizing and some, special things made for the Air Force. But there's not really research per se. I mean, am I better?
Well, research includes development. So it's actually research R&D, so development. So if we take your technology and develop it for the Air Force, sometimes we just say research when we mean research and development. So it sounds like it needs some development for the Air Force.
Well, yeah. They can use it like it is, but I can see that they would want to make some adaptations for specific applications. So phase 1 would be the way to go.
What is it again?
I make a staging system for tools for professional mechanics. It's a visual system, so it reduces FOD, which is a big advantage for the Air Force.
Right. So it could be a phase 1 because it sounds like there are a lot of organizations in the Air Force that might use your technology. So you might want $50,000 in a couple months to go find some customers. And if you could find a couple customers, that'd be even better. So I think I might try a phase 1. You can also try a phase 2, direct to phase 2. You can apply multiple times. What you cannot do is you cannot be paid for the same work twice. But there are many times where firms will apply in 2 different directions and then they just have to take one or the other.
Okay.
Because you can't get paid twice.
Shucks.
However,
that's a terrible rule.
Not like you're getting, if the Navy decides that they need what you've got, they could pay you for it too. So that happens a lot. The other day we were at an event and this fellow had these vests that had all kinds of connection points for soldiers to connect ammunition, water, first aid kits, what have you. And somebody came along and they said, we would use that in a heartbeat, but it needs to be waterproof. And on the spot, we gave them a phase 2 to waterproof their solution. And then they took it over to the Navy and they said, hey, guess what? We have this new waterproof solution the Air Force just bought. What do you say? And they said, yeah, we'll take it too. So sometimes it is things just, it's all timing and luck and connections and all that sort of thing. But there's a big opportunity here.
Okay, while we're waiting for the next question, can everyone just smile for their cameras if they have their cameras open, and I'll do a quick photo. Okay, thank you guys. Hold on, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. We got it.
All right.
So those have been good questions. Does anybody else have anything for Kelly or any comments?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hi, Kelly. I have an obvious question. I went to the SBIR website and went through the funding opportunities that you mentioned. And I don't think I can find something that fits exactly my product. So I was wondering, where's the link to apply for phase 1? Do I do it through the PTAC office or how do I do it?
Nope, it's right here. It's, you're looking for the open topic. So let's go back over here. So open call right here. Is it still showing? Am I still sharing?
Yeah.
Never know if it's sharing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So right here, open call for innovative, defense-related, dual purpose, which means it already exists commercially. Technologies, a solution with a clear Air Force stakeholder need. So what is it you use, sir? You do, sir?
I manufacture a breathing device.
Breathing like medical?
Yeah, it's in the process of registration with the FDA.
So I'll tell you, we've seen a lot of that. So, but you could go right here, see over here on the side, it talks about human systems. And you could click on here and you'll see that when you go to the other page, you're looking for 203 CS01. And right now you can ask questions here, but later it will, when you go to the home and you register to be able to propose, you'll go down here and it'll show under one of these. Let's say it was this instead, because the Air Force One isn't open yet, right? It's not active. We're in pre-release. But let's say it was one of these. You would go down here and you would find the details, and it should help you to. Just wants to download. I don't know if anybody's proposing at the moment. Anyway, the place to propose, this is the place to propose, right? Proposal submissions. You would go here and you would look for that topic number, the open call.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? And here's a bunch of training materials, frequently asked questions, templates, that sort of thing. And then I've given you, it should be there, my own email. I'll put it in again. I'll put all of these in there again.
Yeah, if you guys look to the top of the chat, she's got all the links and everything up there.
Is there someone else who I can answer a question? Again, just for fun, just to be aware, because, you know, sometimes even if it's not you, it might be somebody else. I would keep an eye here for their webinars, for the AFWorks webinars about the open topic. Although that one's a little tiny bit late in the game, and right now is the time to ask your questions on that CITES website. That's the whole reason why this is happening today and not 2 weeks from now, is because now is the time when you can ask your questions. You can follow AFWorks here so that you don't miss any. It talks about open topics. Yep.
Kelly, I guess my question would be, you talked about being able to apply for phase 1 and phase 2, depending on where things are at. And that's just with my basic product that I have. I also have the ability to do some more advanced RFID technology with what I have. I mean, am I better off staying with kind of the basic grassroots of what I have, or is this can I, kind of do my grassroots product as well as more advanced, just do multiple applications in different directions?
So we can't pay you for the same work twice, right? Apply for the place. And then if you end up with a choice, you'll have to make a choice. So it depends on what you could make the best case that the Air Force needs. So just like the last fellow there I was speaking with there, Dr. Gazawi. I said, you would find the open topic and then make your case, right? And if you can connect with an Air Force organization, which I might be able to help with, although I know, for example, in the breathing device realm, we're not really doing that anymore, at least through the Air Force. I will tell you that the folks that did create, when COVID kicked off, they created COVID technologies. They had the best luck with their state. Usually the governors had some sort of push for technology. And in fact, I created this part of our site, which talked about ways for you to join the fight in coronavirus. So, sir, I would, with the breathing technology, I would send you here before I sent you actually to Air Force SBIRSTTR, because I know that the technologies that got put in, they said, well, these are on the path to FDA certification, and
Yeah, I couldn't really find any local state resources. It was other states have it. You know, Ohio offered it. California definitely offered it, but couldn't see anything in Nebraska.
Right. Well, here's a bunch more then that are still in play that's off of the Air Force SBIRSTTR website. But you, ma'am, with that, Miss Kelly, oh, that's a nice name. You know, it's whatever you can make the case for that the Air Force needs the most. Do they need your fundamental product, or they need an adaptation of your product? Because that's, like I said, there's a lot of competition here. So you need to make the case that the Air Force needs what you've got. And you can say, and I need $3 million in 2 years to come through, but I can. And so I'd like to apply for this research money. Sorry.
So Kelly, will you be sharing your slides with us, or can you share our slides so that we could send them out to the group?
I think I can, yeah. Worst case scenario, that they would be at on this site.
Okay.
So you could send a link to them.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, if we don't have any other questions, I wanted to thank everyone for their time this morning. Especially thank Kelly Kernan. So I gotta correct that. I'm so sorry. I could have coordinated a little bit better beforehand. But Kelly Kernan, Chief Technology Officer of the U.S. Air Force's SBIR SBIRSTTR program. So I have a couple of pronunciation problems this morning. I don't always make the switch with DoD. SBIRSTTR. So when you're talking with DoD folks about those programs, you got to make the switch. So anyway,
sometimes they'll just recall them SBIRs and STTRs. So it just depends.
Yeah, I'm in an SBIR where I say all the letters mentality, and I don't always switch it over. But anyway, so I appreciate that, and the great takeaways, actually, thank you, about the SBIRSTTR program being, you know, kind of underutilized, and especially underutilized by Nebraska companies. That's something that I work on every day to try and increase those numbers. But you know, they're moving in the right direction, but not very fast or very far. So I really appreciate you taking the time this morning, Kelly, and sharing your contact information as well. I think that that'll be something that hopefully everyone on this Zoom call uses that opportunity to reach out, share their projects in greater detail as well, if that would be helpful to really figure out where the best path forward for them is, either with Kelly, you know, the expert, the person, or with me. I can help with that as well, to kind of figure out where the best path forward is. So so thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Kelly. If you have any closing remarks.
I just want to, this is the bottom link of the 4 links that I shared. Okay. And again, sorry to beat a dead horse here, but the reason why we're having this meeting right now is because right now you can ask questions on 59 topics for the upcoming 20.3 and 20.C SBIR STTRs. And one of them is this open topic where you can just make the case that the Air Force needs what you've got. And this is a place to ask your questions. This is a place to get educated on the process. This is where all the pitch days are, okay? Forever being said, hey, how do I do a pitch? How do I participate in your pitch days? And I have to say, I'm so sorry, we just closed it. Check back in a year. And that's a sorry thing to have to say. So these pitch days are right here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's more if we keep scrolling there, but there's 4 pitch days right there. So, and those are a lot of fun. And yeah. Okay, that's all I had to say. Thanks.
Okay. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for offering to do this and reaching out to us a couple weeks ago. I think this has been a great opportunity for everybody to learn more about the Air Force program. You know, really glad to have a fellow Husker join us. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Go Big Red.
Thank you, Kelly. God bless you.
Thank you. Let me see. There's some chats. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How do I? You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for coming, Aaron.
Thanks for having me. It was super helpful. I'm going to be messaging you about a couple different things. So it was
awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, cool.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too.
Have a good long weekend, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Hey, Josh, I'll give you a call.
Okay. Yep. See you.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Bye. Oh, never mind. Okay.
Okay. So I think that went well.
Yeah, I think so.
So we actually could do more of those, couldn't we?
I think so.
If you have the contacts, which, oh, maybe we should, we're recording this, but
Hold on. Oh my God. It won't let me turn it off. I'll call you.
Okay. See ya.